We are dreamers, we are young, living life like tomorrow never comes. We are dreamers, so we go light, going strong till the morning light.
Magnate, Ranyena, Haminate, Libar, Aglibon Chiman, Naudono, Nutana, Jar le Jaifan, Yopante, Lanchindale, can you move talk in the new car? The say gum na quite of say me, Fanana Koya Woko, because it can be we additionne multiplie tout ce qui te fait avancer. Rêve, 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 pense sans aucune trêve.
We are dreamers, we are young, living life like tomorrow never comes. We are dreamers, so we go light, going strong till the morning light.
Kakadu, Bultanago, Parkek, Daraja, Wosago, Chio, for
like tomorrow never comes. We are dreamers, so we go light, going strong till the morning light.
SABC channel, coming to you live from Auckland Park in Johannesburg. Thank you so very much. That's Naledi. I'll be talking to him in just a little while. He's an artist from Senegal. And yeah, we have a killer show today, traveling all over the African continent, from Senegal to Nigeria to Kimberley and back to Joburg. I do have some of the best of Africa's voices in entertainment and showbiz. In our first story for today, we go first to art, where Sugar Tax is the title of a South African artist Mbongeni Buthelez's solo exhibition, currently taking place at the Melrose Gallery north of Johannesburg. So much like Syntax, the title of the exhibition expresses the use of waste material to create an awareness about the dangers of pollution in the environment. Take a look.
This gallery has played host to a number of artist exhibitions since opening its doors earlier this year. Mbongeni Buthelez's artworks were among some of the artist exhibitions that adorned these walls. Now he has a solo spot. One of the co-directors at the gallery tells us more about Buthelez's work.
Mbongeni has been using creating artworks for the last 27 years using waste plastic, which he applies to plastic with a heat gun. And that's what we're showing here. So the entire gallery at the Melrose Gallery is all with Mbongeni's work at the moment. He's taking waste material, waste plastic, which can be very harmful to the environment, and he's turning that into something that's extremely valuable.
For his artworks, Buthelezi exclusively uses industrially produced plastic materials with various imprinting. However, he does not randomly collect rubbish, but uses specifically found materials. A fusion of colorful plastic and a heat gun results in this form of art, which from a distance appears to be like a painting. Through his work, he explores the nation's proposed tax on artificial sweetened beverages and other sugared foodstuff.
I don't only think that it's this showcase. Mongeni often has children, youth, the community as subject matter within his works. And this is called Sugar Tax, which creates a dialogue around issues related to sugar. What he's done is he's utilized the brands from the different soft drinks, which have become part of South Africa's community. You can't really see the community without these big brands of these soft drinks. So he's utilized those logos within the works. And obviously children have a lot to do when you start talking about sugar and soft drinks. So I think that's why you're seeing a lot of children come through in terms of the subject matter.
The main goal of this exhibition is to appeal to the public about balancing the relationship between what people consume and the environment. The gallery seeks to focus on contemporary African art with mostly group exhibitions from different artists.
Now, a documentary showing at the ongoing Encounters Documentary Film Festival puts the spotlight on how South African activist and politician Mama Winnie Mandela was neutralized by the former apartheid regime as a political force. The film's director, who was named Best Director in the World Documentary section at the prestigious Sundance Film Festival in the US, looks at her life and contribution through intimate insights from comrades, friends, and her enemies.
Would you be prepared to take up a gun and kill someone in order to achieve your freedom?
Now I know I can.
The truth is that there is a lot of half knowledge, less than half knowledge that's out there in the world that still, unfortunately, deems Mama Winnie to be a character that is reprehensible, a character associated with the murder of children.
For the French director, the protagonist of her award-winning documentary represents the double standards women face, especially in politics, as we live in a patriarchal world.
Real history is made on the ground by real people. And obviously this film tells the story of a very, very significant political figure in the struggle for freedom in South Africa, who happened to be a woman, and who happened to, but who very specifically suffered the consequences of being a woman. Because the methods that were used in order to discredit her and also to demonize her had a lot to do with the fact that she was a woman, and of course principally that she was Nelson Mandela's wife.
Lamsha credits her late South African partner for inspiring her to tell Winnie Mandela's story, as her story has not been told in all its nuances.
I was always really intrigued by Mama Winnie and the whole story because there seemed to be such a lack of fit between what I knew was out there, which was very confusing, all these very conflicting stories that were very dark. And what I knew was the enormous respect and love for her here in South Africa. And so it seemed, as a filmmaker, invariably you get very interested in when things are complex, when there's a gap between the perceived narrative and the reality.
The film is showing at the Encounters Documentary Film Festival, currently underway in Johannesburg and Cape Town.
So it's taken him 6 years to make the musical journey he wants to embark us on. A musician who plays the guitar, the piano and percussion, and he composes his own songs as well. You saw him when the show started. He's an inspired writer and before anything a lover of music before he is a singer. I'm so very glad to have a perfectionist of an artist, that's Mo Didiouf. He's back with a musical collection titled Trilogy. It's a triple album telling the story of time travel and exposure in the year of in the style of yesteryear, but with the technologies of today. Welcome, Mo. Pleasure having you on Trendz.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. It's
so you are a Senegalese artist.
Yes.
Lovely that we have you here in South Africa. So tell us a little bit about why you're here and before we go into the music.
Yeah, I'm here to celebrate first my new album that I dropped out, but also to celebrate Africa.
Right.
To celebrate the country who always welcomed me and understand my music earlier during the World Cup, and who gave me different opportunity to really expose myself.
Yeah.
You know, and be who I am. You know, and I'm really thankful and grateful for that.
Be authentically you through your music.
Yes.
And that's the thing, right? You're very much, an Afropolitan artist who fuses a whole lot of elements. But I loved what you did earlier. We were jamming, all of us in studio with you. And, when it comes to your music, though, first of all, you write, you compose. How does it all come together? And tell us about your journey. I mean, 6 years later, you have your album, but you have also had a whole lot of other prestigious achievements over the years. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing started earlier in 2007 in Nashville when we get the first prize in world music, and so it opened the doors when we come back here. So the World Cup was the first really great big opportunity in terms of African young artists showcase what exactly Africa is, So, when you're from Africa, you just, I think, at least have enough sensibility to open yourself enough to listen, because everything is inspired.
Sure.
So we have the richest continent, and the story of people are enough really rich to, fill up your soul. Then when we compose, we just, let ourselves drive us.
Sure.
To the story who is the closest and the richest.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Tell me something though, what have you found, in your travels, having been in America, having been in Europe, having been here in South Africa, and with your own country, what are some of the stark differences and things that you see just in terms of musicianship and the quality of the sound?
There was something, so I think I can stick in one word, which is creativity. I mean, it feels like, nothing can stop the creativity of what you can find.
Regardless of whatever's happening.
Exactly.
Because African people, whether it's war, whether it's joy, whether it's sadness, we are a people who love music and to express ourselves very creatively.
Exactly. And in any corner in Africa, you find creators, with their hands or with music, with sports. So they don't really, there was one thing that I always admire. So the fact of nothing stop people to chase their dreams. And I think we celebrate that in this song that we call Dreamers.
Dreamers.
Yes.
Fantastic. An ode to all the dreamers in Africa. What's going on in Senegal? Tell us about the musical scene there. Who do you work with? Are you working with younger up-and-coming artists? Like, what's the vibe like in Senegal?
So we are the next generation after Youssou N'Dour, Barama, and all these great legends. And as I said, we fuse, we don't really stuck in genders, now. So hip hop is very big there.
Really?
Do
you rap?
So big. We all rap. No, we all.
We all have the ability to, I think, because obviously, when you love music, I think there's always elements of every single kind of genre. But we all have the ability to. What I said was, can you rap?
I can rap because we grew up in, with this early 19s, first hip hop artists, Yo Tupac and all of that. So we have this also French rapper who came early in Senegal. So remember that Senegal got the first hip hop artist, was Positive Black Soul.
Wow.
Positive Black Soul was the first one who brought hip hop artists all around the world.
Nice.
Daraji Camps and all of that. So those are the artists with who I maybe put the spirit. There was also like Halam and all these guys who influenced me. But nowadays we really have a great young artists.
Everywhere. I think all of us everywhere in any country, Do some of these artists feature on your album?
Yeah, of course. Okay. So of course.
But what's never been done before on Trendz is to have a francophone rapper. So I need you to drop some bars. I need you to drop some bars for me.
No, there was no problem. There was no problem. So we just can go like degla yenn say boy man ñak nga way boy jappali dal man nak la wala malala wala tralala suñu go mak yow boy xam nga dafa xool ñu ñaar dañu bëri ñabot. So I mean,
okay.
We like
that's what.
Yeah. I mean, this easier. I mean, from where we are, we get exposed to rap, reggae, zouk, everything.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, part of what I love about South African music was always the fusion between the roots,
all the different genres, yeah.
You know, and the capacity of being very, very modern.
Sure,
you know,
sure. Okay.
Very open to the world. I mean,
yes.
And that's why also I've done a lot of collaboration here.
Fantastic.
With
Fantastic.
your Tumi,
okay.
your Zabs.
Okay.
Revolution, Becky Koza.
Right, some very, very prominent artists. You know what? Unfortunately, we have run out of time. And if anything, you need to get out of here because you have a flight to catch.
That's true. You know what I mean?
So thank you so very much, Mo. Twitter, Instagram, how do people get a hold of you?
Mo the Diouf, everywhere. Just
Mo
type Google.
Okay.
MOHDEDIOUF.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, South Africa.
Yes.
And be you.
Thank you.
Stay you.
Be authentically you. Thank you so very much. Merci à vous.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a guy from Senegal and he's about to catch a flight. So join me after the break. We will be back.
Today on Rights and Recourse, we will unpack the new traditional court bill.
The idea of the bill is not to overregulate, to basically set the principles.
The most important aspect of this bill is that it understands that customary law by its nature is consensual, that I have a right to affiliate, I have a right therefore to opt in, and I have a right to opt out.
The opt-out provision is basically one that you've got to respect the court in the sense of if you've been summoned, you've got to tell the clerk of the court at least that you're not willing to attend.
The challenge that I would like to throw to the Department of Justice, it has to come up with mechanisms of ensuring that people who exercise their right to opt out or to opt in are not in any way victimized.
Hashtag Rights with Dumila Mates on legal issues every Sunday at 2 o'clock Central African Time.
If we can join our hands together against the ills of our society, we can build a better nation. One youth, one South Africa.
Welcome back. You're watching Trendz. So as we look forward to celebrating all the good, exemplary and present fathers out there next week, Sunday on Father's Day, I have with me in studio social commentator and author of a book titled Notes to My Sister, Let Him Serve You. It's a frank and insightful perspective of modern-day relationships and the potential pitfalls that us women must navigate. Now, the man here is a father to two gorgeous girls, and the book is dedicated to them first and foremost before the rest of us. Welcome, Kofi.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure having you here.
It's a pleasure
so,
to be here.
How long did it take for this book to come about? Let's just start there.
Well, writing it didn't take that long. It took approximately, I think it was about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Maximum.
But what were the conversations? I mean, when you had that little seed that was planted to say, wait a minute, women are saying the same things. Men are saying the same things, but there's a disconnect. You know, men, women, they've been written about since time immemorial.
Yes.
And I think one thing that still prevails is the frustration of we don't get each other.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't. Well, basically what inspired it was the frustration of women. A lot of the time not understanding exactly what role a man was supposed to play in their lives. And I think also with men, but primarily for women. So the conversations that I had were with frustrated women. Women who had pretty much had it and just needed some answers and some straight talk. Yeah. So that's what I try to give them.
So you're our straight talking brother.
One of them.
One of them.
One of them.
Okay. And I mean, since then, when it comes to feedback, what kind of feedback do you get? Because you know, this book is dedicated firstly to your daughters. You know, they're still young, but they're going to have to go through all the things that many have gone through. You know what I mean? And when you say "let him serve you," explain that.
Well, it's exactly what it is. Let him serve you. I think a lot of the time, whether it's in the relationship dynamic or just in the general social dynamic, women don't seem to fully grasp the extent and the depth of their power. And when it comes to relationships, all we're really basically waiting for is women to give us the go-ahead to treat them how we believe they need to be treated, or sometimes they say they want to be treated. Yep. The question is, with women being as liberated, as strong, as free, as independent as they are now, they're so busy being strong, so busy being independent, that they're pretty much doing everything for themselves. And we're saying, you know what, some of these things we could help you with, some of these things we could carry for you. Let us carry them for you.
But how, Graffiti? Because the very reasons and experiences that have led women to be the independent women who say, you know what, let me focus on me. Focus on me and my kids, or focus on myself, because I've been let down so often.
Yes.
You know, so how do we then break down the walls, the barriers, to say, okay, here's a guy who I think has the, I don't know, is it potential? To be able to be the kind of man that I need?
I think it's more track record than potential. One of the biggest mistakes, in my opinion, that women make is they look for a man's potential as opposed to his track record.
Okay.
And with guys, we tend to look for potential in a woman, what we can create with you based on what you currently have. So with women, all we basically, or what I would recommend is, first of all, let go enough to if he's already in your life, let go enough to let him play a role, set expectations, and hold him accountable to them.
Right.
Far too often, I think, women tend to forgive us when we don't step up the way we're supposed to, and that's unfortunate.
And that's also how we've been socialized, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
So when it comes to, I mean, you give talks, you speak to other men, you've had other interviews. What's the general conversation that men are having nowadays? Are they realizing that they need to step up? Are they realizing that they need to act better? Are they realizing as well, especially for men who have daughters only, that, you know what, if I've been this kind of guy and my track record is X, Y, Z, the chances that my daughter could go through the same are very, very high.
Well, very true. If I can get scriptural for a second, the sins of the father are visited upon the child. So I think a lot of the time men don't understand just how much impact their actions have on their seed. And in the case of a man who has daughters, I know what my track record has been, but for the most part, I'm just trying to do my part now to ensure that this is the model that they see, this is the model that they grow with, so they don't deviate from it. Will there be some kind of karmic retribution? I'm sure there will be, but as long as I equip them and prepare them for what could possibly happen, I think it's a good start. But in saying that, at the same time, it also behooves women to hold us to a standard. We get away with far too much. Whether it's a side chick thing or the baby mama drama, whatever it is, we get away with far too much. Women allow far too much. And we're saying, or rather I'm saying, you've allowed the negatives to take place for this long. Start expecting, demanding, and holding us accountable for the positives as well.
Okay, I hear you. What has fatherhood meant for you? You've been at it for a few years. What have you learned? What have you grown through?
Oof. It's hard to condense it all into a couple of sentences, but for the most part, it's been growth. It's been intense growth. When I first heard that I was going to be a dad, that changed everything for me. My daughter's the reason why I got married. My daughter's the reason why I started getting my life on track. My daughter's the reason why I push what I push, I do what I do, I share what I share, I talk to the people that I talk to.
Have you found, can I just step in there and ask, have you found that for many men, it's only when they realize that, oh my gosh, I am going to now be an example, whether I like it or not. I have somebody who's going to watch everything that I do versus what I say. That's when men step up?
Well, I wouldn't say that's the general case, but for a lot of us, yes, it is. And in my case, I think it speaks more to not knowing what your purpose is. I think, especially for guys in my generation and for someone like me who grew up in the church, when they talked about purpose, it was always something aligned to the church. But the reality is your purpose is whatever you set your mind to and whatever you work at in order to bring about positive change for the people in your life and the people around you. So with fatherhood, there's a sense of purpose that I came across, and I'm sure many men come across as well. And that just gives you so much drive, so much oomph, so much focus and dedication and get up and go, if you will, to get things done, to be that example, to do what needs to be done.
What's the best thing about being a dad to daughters?
It's definitely the affection.
Yeah.
It's.
Do they have you wrapped around their little finger?
No, they don't.
They don't.
No,
Okay.
they don't.
Okay,
They
that's
don't.
interesting because a lot of guys, you know, especially with girls,
Yeah.
the girls call the shots. So have you managed to find an effective balance between being, you know, because it's difficult, I think, for many parents. You want to be liked by your kids.
Yeah.
You don't want to be, you know, the strict, stern parent all the time.
Yeah.
But also you are their guide, you are their protector. So there has to be a balance. But
Yeah.
you do find now that many people want to be friends to their kids.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I always say that it's nice to be liked by your kids, but I would much rather be loved by my kids and respected. So my kids respect, my kids love me. Sometimes they don't like my decisions. Sometimes they don't like the limitations that I place on them. But I think somehow they understand that this is for my good. The irony is a lot of the time kids want that structure. Kids want someone to say, you know what, don't go there, go here, stay away from that.
Okay.
They want that and they appreciate that. So
And when they do get older, they definitely will appreciate everything that you've
I certainly
done.
hope so, because I will be charging.
Right, okay, Kofi, the book is out. It's called Notes to My Sister, Let Him Serve You. A great book for women, for daughters, for sisters. Everyone should read it. And please keep carrying on the conversations and the dialogues for all the men who need to hear the message, but more importantly, understand it and also put into action the words that you say in the book.
Will do.
Thank you so very much, Kofi.
It's a pleasure.
Now, a night that applauds the best artists who have created the most interesting stories of the continent was celebrated earlier this week at the 13th Annual Naledi Theatre Awards, with over 27 categories bringing a variety of genres on the theatre stages of South Africa. The awards were held at Gold Reef City earlier this week. Take a look.
13 years and still running. The best in theatre were recognized for their excellence yet again. The event was hosted by comedian and actress Tumi Morake and Alan Comedy, who is a presenter.
Well, 13 years ago, I realized that there was nothing to honor and reward excellence in South African theatre. And I go to the theatre all the time. I've been in the theatre for 50 years. So I've done everything. I've produced, I've directed, I've acted, I've sung. And I couldn't understand this, that there was no recognition. There's recognition for music, for business, for women, for business man of the year, for the SAFTAs, the SAMAs, the Metro, but there was nothing for theatre.
2 international musicals, Shrek the Musical and Singing in the Rain, were honored with 2 awards each. Some of the night's biggest winners included the musical Annie, which took home 4 awards, including Best Production of a Musical. Veteran actress Ilsa Klink took home the Lead Actress Award in a play for her performance in Scorched.
I feel absolutely excited. What a privilege to have been awarded the Best Actress Award for the Naledi Awards. What a privilege. I'm very happy that the play that I did, Scorched, directed by Jade Bowers, who about 2 years ago won the Standard Bank Young Artist Award. You know, she directed me in Scorched, and it was such a wonderful play.
Daniel Mpilo Richards also bagged the Best Newcomer and Breakthrough Award for the play Pay Back the Curry.
Oh man, amazing. I've done this show for almost a year now. I've done 108 performances, and just to get this acknowledgement is a wonderful end to the show.
Mara Lowe and the Kings of Harmony performed a moving tribute to actors and actresses who have passed on. 4 special awards, the Lesedi Spirit of Courage, the Executive Directors Award, the Lifetime Achievement Award, and the World Impact Award were also given out. South African icon Johnny Clegg was honored with the World Impact Award, while Eric Holm, who broke his neck in a diving incident, took home the Lesedi Spirit of Courage Award. Other people who embraced these awards included veteran Mbongeni Ngema, Welcome Somi, and many others.
They're the biggest theatre awards in South Africa. They inspire our thespians. And I wish that more people can aspire to have a Naledi in their hand, because it will then drive them to work harder, knowing that one day I will get a Naledi. It is our top South African Theatre Award, and it means so much to the young people especially to get a Naledi, because it drives them to the right direction of perfectionism.
The Naledis recognize and reward excellence in the performing arts so as to raise the profile of live theatre and to create awareness of talent in all South African theatres. Ngema's musical Sarafina closed the show with an amazing performance.
After the break, the rhythms of Lagos are in the building. Stay tuned. Trendz is back after this.
The Pan-African Parliament as a legislative body could go a long way in continuing to promote women's rights in all African member states.
Moon will be elected president. A decisive win by him will provide much needed stability in South Korea.
The Deputy President and the SADC Oversight Committee have been mandated to convene a multi-stakeholder national dialogue before elections.
5 teams are trapped in the relegation mud. These include Bloemfontein Celtic, 12 on the log, followed by Chiba United, Free State Stars and Baroka, who are second from the bottom, as well as Highlands Park, who have won only 4 matches.
We're on point with breaking stories, detailed economy and sport. Tune in to Midday Report every Monday to Friday from 12 p.m.
Welcome back. So this week, some provinces in the country felt the bitterly cold winter chills, officially making the start of winter. So I'm sure you'll agree with me that finding a perfect color-coordinated outfit to keep the winter chill away can sometimes be a rather daunting and expensive task. So as usual, Trendz has got you covered. We sat down with a stylist and founder of a lovely fashion label who gave us the lowdown on what to look out for this winter. Take a look.
Just because it's winter, it doesn't mean that your wardrobe must be dull and boring. A pop of color here and there will definitely transform your winter outfits.
I think winter is definitely one of those seasons where you can really show off your sartorial choices, because you can layer. You know, you can start from a single layer of a shirt, actually starting with thermals, build it up with a shirt. You can have beautiful knits over the shirts, like we've done with Jay, and then a coat and a scarf. So I think once you've got that, or those essentials, you're pretty much set.
Dressing for your body shape or size can be very tricky at times. Whether you're a size 2 or plus size girl, the key is finding the right outfit for your body.
I find it very sexy if a voluptuous woman is wearing a fitted dress that showcases, very confident as well. And you can layer that with a beautiful big shawl, or counter it with an oversized coat. So you've got the balance and the optical illusion of something that seamlessly works together. And I also think that for skinny malinks like me, I don't generally opt for tight clothes because they make me look smaller than I am. I would go for baggier things. So I'm a size 8, but I'd go for a size 16, for instance, a dress, and then I'll belt it up, just cinch it and then showcase my waist and then have it draped. It just automatically looks cool and on trend.
So what should guys rock this winter?
So there are beautiful puffer jackets that I've seen around the shops, and body warmers that come in beautiful vivid colors, because people often also think that for winter you stick to grays and black, but I've seen some beautiful puffer jackets that are red and blues, and that's a nice item that you can layer over a suit if you're walking or cycling to work or catching public transport. And then when you get to the office, you strip it down, and then you also get some beautiful tailored coats that look very sophisticated and distinguished, and they come in an array of colors.
With that said, be daring this winter. Explore the trends and add some color to your outfit.
Colors, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going bright for winter. I think it purely depends on personality and what you're trying to communicate with your look. But I think there's place for neutral tones if you're that kind of gentleman or lady, or color. I know I'm that person. I love winter.
And remember, there are no rules when it comes to fashion.
Do's and don'ts are very subjective. It purely, if you're comfortable in it, I say go ahead. Go ahead, because the rules that have been there 10 years ago that I see people breaking now, like wearing sandals with socks, and they look the part, provided they're done right, they're age appropriate, and the colors work. So I think if you're comfortable and you've got the right attitude to pull it off, go ahead, because fashion ultimately is one of the communications tools. You know, it's how we communicate our personalities and our moods to the rest of the world. So if you feel like being quirky, who's there to stop you?
Ọmọ pupa lèmi ń fẹ́, ọmọ pupa o, jọ̀wọ́ mo fẹ́ràn rẹ o. Tí n bá dé Joburg, máa wá fi ránì ránṣẹ́. Ọmọ pupa o, jọ̀wọ́ dúró tì mí o. Ta 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 ta. Si 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 baby sawalele sawale oh mama oh papa I don't tell mama I don't tell papa baby sawalele sawale ashawo sisi sheju you know the shade letting your Spanish too much if you marry taxi driver I don't care if you marry taxi driver if you marry lorry driver I don't care if you marry taxi driver I don't care. Ọmọ mi ṣe ń rere tírí àdára o. Ọmọ mi gbọ́n tèmi tírí àdára o. Ìyá mi máa ṣe ń rere gbàdúrà fún mi. Bàbá mi máa ṣe ń rere gbàdúrà fún mi. Tọmọdé bá hùwà burúkú wọn ní àárẹ̀ ló kàn. Ọmọdé bá hùwà burúkú wọn ní bàbá rẹ̀ ló kàn. Ìyá mi fọ̀nà tó bá ọ̀mí láyé. Bàbá mi fi wà tó dá ọ̀mí láyé. Ayé tí mo wà yìí ó ayé mi o. Ẹ̀yin ni Ọlọ́run kejì mi láyé. Ìyá mi máa ṣe ohun rere, bàbá wa ṣe ohun rere. Ìyá mi máa ṣe ohun rere sí àdára o. Ìyá mi máa ṣe ohun rere.
Oh my
my goodness, like I said, the rhythms of Nigeria are in the building. I'm so excited. That was a beautiful, beautiful, thank you so very much, guys. A musical, a little bit of a tribute mix, the music from Kakadu, the musical. I will talk to some of them in just a little while. But before that, I want to talk about art, where Newtown Junction Mall is known for being hip, upbeat, and the cultural hub of Joburg and the inner city, right? So there's always been graffiti lining the walls, but now it's being recognized as an art form rather than destruction to property. So with this in mind, there's a competition that's been hosted by the mall to encourage this art form and to brighten and liven up the inner city. Take a look.
Newtown Junction Mall hosted an epic contest in the cold this past Thursday, where 3 top South African graffiti artists battled it out for the opportunity to become the Newtown Graffiti Face-Off Master. In addition to creating considerable excitement on social media, the competition has presented the opportunity for graffiti artists to be recognized and showcase their talent. As a bonus, Newtown Junction Mall is to become an even livelier and even more colorful place.
We are running a graffiti competition. By we, I mean Newtown Junction Mall. Because the precinct is so rich for its history and known as the Arts and Culture Hub. So this is just a little contribution to Arts and Culture South Africa.
The conquering graffiti artist will have epic street cred and the honor of being named Newtown Junction Graffiti Face-Off Master. G'day Trendz, I'm Louise Scope and I'm right here in downtown Johannesburg at the Newtown Junction Mall. We were at the Graffiti Artist Face-Off. Now I'm here speaking to Riza, who's going to tell us a bit about his piece here. So Riza, tell us, what was the inspiration or what was your basic draft for this piece?
Well, first things first, I was inspired by African indigeneity, you know, because Newtown is like very old. It's the cornerstone of the art in the city. So I thought if I could come up with an idea where I could represent the arts and at the same time intervene with the cultural perspective of it. So I did a lion because it's African and it's regarded like the king of the jungle. So here this is a battle, like we're fighting for the face of Newtown.
The Face-Off saw 3 artists develop their masterpieces within a 3-hour limit. These will then be posted on various social media platforms where their fate will be left in the hands of the public. The artist with the most votes will ultimately get to make his mark on 2 full-size walls at the mall.
So following 3 years of successful performances in Nigeria and Switzerland, Kakadu, the award-winning Nigerian theatre spectacle, has hit our shores. Written and directed by Uche Wokwedi, this vibrant theatre production tells the story of the heavy price tag independence came with for the Nigerian populace. Now, the dark days of the Biafra War, which tore the country apart along tribal lines from the 1960s to about the mid-70s. So the musical opened this week at the Joburg Theatre, and I'm so very excited to be sitting here with one of the leading ladies, Bridget Okonkwo and Uche Wokwedi. Welcome to studio.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic to have you here. That music, oh my gosh. The one bone I have to pick with all of you, Bridget, the guys who are here. You're not dressed in your lovely Nigerian art.
Well,
but I mean the head wraps, and I'm known around here for being pretty much the only presenter who does the head wraps, and I love it. You guys looked absolutely amazing on stage. Welcome to South Africa.
Thank
You've done a few interviews, I know, but tell us what's response been like from people who've gone to see you guys.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Surprisingly amazing, actually.
Surprisingly?
Well, because I don't know, somehow we expected, of course, the response to be good, but we didn't know it was going to be so good.
Every night.
Yeah. And the way the people followed the story, they understood, it was priceless. So,
Mr. Uche?
Yes.
You are a lawyer.
Yes.
Senior advocate.
Yes.
And here you are, brought this amazing, put together, I mean, you've done more theatre, but here is this amazing history lesson through music. It takes us back to a time, you know, a painful time in Nigeria's past, happy but also painful. So tell us more about how you got into this line of work, which is very different from what most advocates do.
Well, I mean, it was more by accident than by design.
Okay.
It started out as a hobby and it sort of grew from there. And I think that the more that I got involved, the more that I saw that there was a need to do theatre.
Yeah.
So I just followed that path.
And could I say that, I mean, being a person who has studied law, it's very much, its foundation is in history. It's seated in history. So does that help? And you were like, wait a minute, when it comes to the youth and understanding where we come from and what our country has gone through, maybe this is a way to get through to them. Because yes, there's movies, but the live theatre is a whole different other thing.
It's not that much different from law, you know. Law is also, you could call it a dramatic art in the sense that you have to make an argument, you have to be convincing in making your argument. And it's the same path that theatre follows. You put a story out there, you put yourself out on stage, you have to convince the audience of the life that you're living on stage. So it's very similar in those terms, and it's the same discipline that applies, because when you write a story, you back it up with your precedents. So same thing in Kakadu, it's the same thing in Kakadu. Most of call it propositions that have been made in the production have historical backups, and it's backed up by historical facts.
Okay.
So I don't see that there's much of a difference between it.
Okay, very interesting, you know, a left and right brain coming together, but this is absolutely amazing. Bridget, you are a dynamite in a small package. Yes, you guys all sing amazingly, but people haven't seen you on stage. You are so tiny on this huge, huge stage, but man, girl, you've got some pipes.
Thank you.
Wow, no, I definitely have to say that. So tell us, I mean, working with the cast, and you guys, have you always been from the very beginning with the original production? So you've done the international tours as well?
No. This is actually my first time with this production, and it has been amazing.
It's been amazing,
yes.
I know. And I mean, what do the differences that you found? One thing I will say is that people who saw it for the very first time, they were also surprised to say, wait a minute, you know, I mean, when you live outside of Nigeria, there's a lot that you see on television, and you'll get a preconceived idea of how it is or how it's supposed to be. Yeah. But you guys amazed us because there's so many parallels between our story as South Africans. Yeah. You know, it takes us back to the time of like your Sophia town, and you're like, oh my goodness, you know, and the cost that freedom has come at, you know, for many, many African nations, the continent as a whole. It's quite heavy.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's like, okay, like after the show the last time, someone, South African, walked up to me. I'm like, our stories are so similar. Yeah, and the fact that they could relate with it.
Exactly.
And then, so I think, and it's a privilege to actually be a part of the generation that is bringing this history back. And you know, because a lot of people don't even know, you know, where we are coming from. You know, so we can know where we're actually going to. So it's really a privilege to be part of the people reliving that experience and telling people about what has happened in our country, and the things that we need to do, the fact that we have to step up, you know, and then we have a lot of work to do. So
Uche, you grew up, I mean, what do you remember of that time coming out from the war and just Nigeria and how it's grown? Because you've gotten to see it over many decades, and it's very different now and very vibrant. But what do you remember as a kid growing up about that time?
Well, I mean, the period of civil war was a difficult period. There was a lot of uncertainty. We moved from place to place as Biafra got smaller. And there's still a lot of uncertainty in Nigeria. So there's not much has changed. The story grows. We've moved on, but it remains the same.
And what is it that young people can and should do to change that?
We need to look at where we're coming from. And one of the things that's been done, I think wrongly, by the educational curriculum is not to focus on the causes of the war and the reasons why we had to go to war or why there was a war. It's important that you examine where you've been so that you don't make the same mistakes. And what Kakadu has done is that Kakadu is like a conversation amongst three generations, our parents, us, and our children.
Right.
And what it does is that it brings everything together and it puts it on the table squarely for all to see.
Okay. And from what I understand, reading about Kakadu, I mean, it was actually a nightclub in Lagos. Very vibrant place, but there were others. So, yes, the name, because initially you're like, what is this Kakadu that they're talking about? Is it a place? Is it a name? Is it, you know, and then you find out that, oh, okay, but the symbolism of it is a little bit more than just a name and a nightclub where people used to go have fun.
Yeah, they were all quite similar, but I think Kakadu was particularly unique. And it was also a club that a number of my uncles used to go to. So they had fond memories of it. So in doing it, it was very easy for me to relate to Kakadu because I'd heard a lot of stories through them.
Okay. And lastly, I mean, for you, Bridget, tell us about the stand-up movement in just a short few sentences.
The stand-up movement is propelling people to not complain about things. Don't be a part of the change.
Be a part of the change that you want to see.
Because the truth is, our actions are determined by the things we, the change we want to see is determined by the things we do. So don't just sit down, fold your hands and complain, oh, the government is not doing anything. You are the government. Do something in your own little way.
Fantastic that also young people are becoming a part of the change. Thank you so very much. Kakadu is at the Joburg Theatre for a short while though, but please do come back, and it's absolutely amazing. Everyone should go watch it. Thank you so much, Bridget.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Pleasure. And so right now we're going to that break, but before that I have a young musician who is going to perform. Her name is Lucille.
Get it any type of way. If you will, you gon' say it to my face. I'm proud to say my dudes are the same. We relate. We do this for the cake. That Kitumbueni, sha sha. Kitumbueni, sha. No, young rich dude, young rich dude. Myself a boss, me a Simpson. Man, you should see my life, it can lit. I used to talk, but now I'm talking 6 figures. Oh man, I'm real with the ish. You should probably leave your girl if I'm seen with the chick. Definitely that the shop by this city, cause I'm rich. Got a Bentley and a Bentley major. Lead with the wind. Kitumbueni. When everybody say it does, and everybody wanna hold your hand and poke, but there it is, don't fly it like I'm DJ Khaled. I'm a problem. Ooh, I'm a big one.
It is 6 p.m. Central African Time, broadcasting live from Johannesburg. This is Primetime News.
South Africa said farewell to one of the Rivonia trialists, Uncle Kathy, a fearless stalwart.
With this man who was so engaged, so busy, so witty, so funny, so wise, and so incredibly principled.
Joseph Shabalala has been honored for his contribution to the South African music industry. A statue in his honor was unveiled during an annual gala dinner in Ladysmith.
The shot of the day, however, belonged to American Daniel Berger, who chipped in for an eagle on the par 4 fifth hole.
For all your news updates, stay on Primetime News every Saturday and Sunday from 6 p.m.
You heard her just before the break. That was Lucille. She's from Kimberley, and she's recognized for her unique vocal tone, performing covers of R&B, pop, and also hip-hop music, as you heard her do her cover of Tito Mboweni by Casper Nyovest. Now, she has done covers of a lot of music, from Lady Zamar's Charlotte to Tito Mboweni and more. So social media streams have elevated her to the success she holds at the moment, and she has just released a debut album. It's titled Scratch the Surface. So yeah, Kimberley-born artist, you're just scratching the surface, girl.
Yeah.
Welcome to Trendz.
Thank you for having me.
So I heard an interview that you did, and the album, how old is it now? When did it come out?
It came out in end of September, I think.
Okay.
End of September.
Sure. So since then, when people didn't know you, and you basically have capitalized on social media, and that's how you are getting to be seated here today.
Yeah.
Tell us about the journey.
We recorded the album at the end of September, and I felt like we weren't getting enough traction, and unfortunately you sort of need to have some type of following.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd been doing covers, but I hadn't been doing them consistently.
Okay.
So I decided to do them consistently. I decided to do some of, the top songs that were coming out, your AKAs, your Caspers.
But that's so different though, because you are a singer, and so obviously, your musical influences are quite vast and different, that you listen to hip-hop and.
Yeah.
So why songs that Casper and AKA does, of all songs that you could think of?
Well, firstly, because they were like the biggest songs at the time.
Yeah.
So I thought, everybody's listening to this. How do I turn it into my own thing? Because I'm a singer.
Yeah.
And I sing predominantly R&B music. So I took the hip-hop tracks and then turned them into like a bit more melodic tracks.
Very nice.
Yeah, that any singer could sing to.
Yeah. And what do the guys have to say when they hear you?
Well, most of them have retweeted me, like Ricky and Casper, and they were nice enough to be like, good job.
Yeah.
So I was like, yes.
Yeah, at least you're getting nods that, you did really well with their music.
Yeah. Because that's the way we've been able to get people's attention, was through the covers.
Yeah.
And so now they're interested in my own music, which was ultimately the goal.
Okay. And so on the album, Scratch the Surface, is it a lot of other covers? Is it or a fusion between what you write and sing
It's
and the
it's a 10-track album.
Okay.
So 9 tracks out of those 10 tracks are tracks that I had written. And the one is a cover, actually. It's the cover of AK's Baddest.
Nice.
So it's a mixture of what I've been doing, the covers and my original,
Fantastic. It's absolutely amazing. And another thing, though, that I heard about your music, though, and your album, Casper said to you, how is your album banging? What's your answer now?
It's freaking banging.
I like that. Thank you so very much. We will be having a performance later on, but take a look at this next little package.